Bill Belichick to Carolina. The Carolina Panthers? No. North Carolina Tar Heels. That's right. The most prestigious NFL coach in history of football is joining college football to coach in the ACC at UNC. What a crazy headline. Who would have thought that that was going to be the case here? My initial gut reaction is holy shit. This is amazing. Their UNC is going to be get right back on track. They're going to be in the mix for conference championships. Their recruiting is going to go out of control. Like, this is huge for North Carolina and for their football program. The whole process was crazy to me. It reminded me a lot of that Vince Vaughn scene in Wedding Crashers, where he's talking to his assistant and he's saying, like, I'm going on a date and I'm interested and I'm trying to tell to see if she's interested and I think she's not interested, and now she's talking about something and now I'm starting to get interested. Like, that's what this is going back for. It's just been ping-ponging back and forth. We've seen him drop a Bible in the lap of North Carolina administration, which it seems like a lot of the 10 commandments that he has are already kind of being employed for the most part, and are like instilled in a lot of college football programs. But as the information started to come out and to settle a little bit, as moving from my gut reaction to holy shit, this is insane, to okay, let's see, how do I really think this is going to play out? So, number one, got to give a lot of credit to North Carolina administration's sports information directors. They made a great hire. Like, there's no doubting that you can't doubt, like, the best coach of all time isn't going to be an improvement for your program. I think that ultimately it will be an improvement to your program. But even more so than that, I think that they are finally making the jump to prioritize football. They're paying him $10 million a year. That is immediately putting up into one of the highest paid coaches in college football. They didn't have to do that. They could have gone cheaper. They could have gotten John Summerall, for example, and not paid nearly as much of that. But they didn't. They wanted to really invest and prioritize football. That's something that North Carolina has not done in the past. They have been a basketball first school. They have prioritized basketball because that's where they have seen success. And in football, they haven't seen that success. Now looks like they are putting a big stamp on their college to say, we're going to prioritize football. That's going to be our identity moving forward, along with the successful basketball program. So on top of what they're paying him, $10 million per year for 3 years, they also announced that they have a $20 million NIL fund that they're able to tap in and let Bill Belichick have access to that. That's a lot. That is very high in compared to a lot of those teams. Like, I don't know if all of that is going to be for football and for Bill Belichick to access, but once you enter that $20 million range, you're in the conversations of what Ohio State is doing, of what Georgia is doing, of what Alabama, like these big programs. That's the kind of money that they're investing. So that is huge for North Carolina to now breach that atmosphere of investing into their program. One thing, a couple things I'm concerned about, but one is his age. I wonder how much of this is, a ploy for him to get back to the NFL or something like that. It's a 3-year contract. He's 72 years old. Like, how much of an imprint is he going to have on this program? How long is he going to be here? I don't know. I don't think he'll be at UNC beyond 3 years. I would be shocked if he is at UNC beyond 3 years. Another thing I want to address as a concern is he has no college football experience. He hasn't coached one down of college football in his career. Now, does that change anything from X's and O's? No, I don't think so. I think he's going to be a fantastic football coach. But there's so much responsibility and jobs outside of just being the football coach for the program. He's going to have to be responsible for relationships with NIL. He's going to have to get on the road to recruiting. He has to evaluate high school talent, which is something that he has not been able to do. He needs to get kids into class and make sure that their grades are up. So these are all things that he has never had to deal with before and is now just plunged into that. And he's going to have to figure out a way to navigate that. So that does cause a little bit concern. But, again, he has that status of being this fantastic head coach who has more Super Bowl rings than some people can count. But we'll see how that goes. Now, as far as recruiting goes, I think this is huge for North Carolina because I think North Carolina hasn't done a great job of their in-state recruiting, and it's a state that has been kind of picked over by Tennessee and Clemson, and even South Carolina to that extent. Like, North Carolina hasn't done a great job of keeping these guys home, and there's a lot of talent in this state. Now, bringing in a guy like Bill Belichick, I think will attract some more blue chip guys. And on top of that, having a war chest with $20 million that you can access, you might be able to outbid the Tennessees of the world. And maybe they won't get the pick of the litter in the state of North Carolina. So just as valuable as the name Bill Belichick, I think the investment and the money that comes with it is going to be just as important. Another thing that seems weird about this whole process is the Steve Belichick thing. It said, like, there was reports saying, like, yeah, he's going to be Belichick's taking this because he wants his son to take over after 3 years. Is he going to hire him here? Is he going to stay at Washington? Talking about Steve Belichick. The whole thing is very weird to me. It is bizarre. I hope that UNC doesn't just say, okay, Bill, we're going to give you this job and we're going to hold the job for your son after 3 years. Like, I hope that's not the case. If Steve Belichick earns that right, then fine. But to reserve it, I hope that's not going to be the case. There's going to be a press conference coming out later today that maybe they'll say some more, but I hope it's not the case. Another thing I want to look out for is he going to be relatable to the kids. He has a reputation of being a hard ass and very off-put to a lot of the players that he has coached. And in an era with NIL and people wanting more money and give me this, what are you going to do for me? How is that going to be relatable to the kids? Like, if I look at some of these huge names that came from the NFL and are very polarizing people, like we look at Deion. Deion is an extremely player-friendly coach. He is all about the kids. He's able to connect with the kids at their age, teenagers, young 20s. He has done a phenomenal job at doing that. And I think a lot of the kids buy into that. Coach Belichick does not have that reputation. He has the reputation of, we're going to get shit done, and you better listen to what I'm telling you. So I'm interested to see how that dynamic works. What are the expectations that we have for Bill Belichick in his 3-year contract? Like, I think the ceiling he has for him is to win an ACC championship. Am I going to put that as a reality? I don't think so. I think he could compete for the ACC championship. I think in the 3 years that he'll be there, I think it's more likely that he'll just maybe reach the ACC championship game versus winning the conference. So I still need to see more from them. It's great that UNC has now prioritized football, and it looks like the first time in their history have said, okay, we want to look at football as a money getter, and we want to be involved in this college football landscape as a national contender. That's something that they have not done previously. So I think that's great. My expectations for them have tempered a little bit since my initial gut reaction of, holy shit, this is insane. Belichick's going to take over the ACC. I think he's good there. I think the UNC program will improve, and they have a chance to win the ACC championship. But I think that's around where we're at within the 3-year period that Belichick will be there. We'll see. Hopefully, I hope for the most success in the world for them. Follow Big Body Ball CFB on all socials.